Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. This video is all about predicting what's going to happen with surging Sparks booster box prices in the next few years. Now, I know it's a little bit of a controversial one. I know it is. You know, whenever someone comes on and goes, I'm going to make predictions about X, Y, and Z, I get the negative connotation towards that. However, you know, this is my argument back to that. You know, there's so many segments of life where everyone makes predictions and future price observations about anything and everything, whether it's sports bet, whether it's the housing market, whether it's stocks, whether it's crypto. Even if you're just having conversations with your mates about, which team is going to go well in the season of NBA or NBL or football or soccer or anything else in between, everyone does that. Everyone makes predictions. There's no problem in having conversation around it. And this is my take on surging Sparks. Before we jump into the video though, if you haven't downloaded the Shiny app, please do so. And if you do have it, please update it. It's a really, really good app for tracking your whole collection for singles and sealed. It's the sponsor of today's video. There's a new little update that's been done though. So when you search via set now, when you go into the search feature, you search via set now, and it'll go from newest to oldest, and obviously surging Sparks will be at the top now. And you can also filter by price highest to lowest, so you can see all the hits inside there. It's a really, really good app. It'll track daily price updates for all singles and all sealed products. It's an AI sort of invented algorithm by the creator. It goes off TCG player pricing and a few other sources, eBay and the likes, to cement in prices there. And it'll give you total percentage gains, which is really important for investors. Anyway, onto the video at hand. Surging Sparks. Now, this is where I see it going. Obviously, pricing came out, and it came out generally where it normally does out of the gate with pre-orders. And then all of a sudden, the demand for this set just went absolutely bonkers. And I've accounted for a few reasons for this before. A, it's a really, really nice looking set. B, most people probably think it's the nicest looking main set we've seen from the whole Scarlet and Violet era, as in it has the best hits inside it. And then C, we're not going to have another main booster box set for quite some time. The next set that comes out, of course, is Prismatic Evolutions in January, but that is not a booster box set. And previous to that, we've had Stellar Crown, of course, but prior to that, it was Twilight Masquerade. So it feels like it's been, 6 months since we've had a really, really good booster box set with some really, really strong chase cards. I'm not knocking Stellar Crown. I'm just saying it's not as good a set as Surging Sparks and not as good a set as Twilight Masquerade. I think that's where a lot of the demand comes from, those three reasons. Now, with that in mind, that demand obviously shot up pricing. Okay, a lot of retailers actually, cancelled orders for people that bought in low and resold those boxes at a higher price because the market would absorb it. I mean, we've seen that before. Is it bad play? Possibly, but we've seen it before during. I know during COVID, when waiting on council deeds to come through for land, there was land that was sold at, just plucking numbers out of the air, but 220,000 Australian dollars for a residential block, and then knowing full well in 9 months' time those blocks were then worth $300,000. There was lots of shady stuff that was happening. There was deals being cancelled and then resold at the new price that the market would then absorb for the, the developers or the owners to make more money. So it's nothing new. This happens. Current market price though for Surging Sparks, it's shot up on TCG Player at like 150, 160 US dollars. It's gone up very, very, very quickly, and it's only been out for a couple of days, hasn't it? So here's where I see it going. I don't know about the US, but in Australia, a lot of the big retailers are already taking pre-orders for March 2025, which strongly suggests there's either a big restock or a small or medium-sized reprint coming our way already. And look, I think the market will absorb it. It's roughly 5 months since this set comes out. 4 months, since this 4.5 months since this set comes out, which is when we're expecting to see this restock or resupply in Australia. I don't know about US viewers, whether you guys have got a really, really similar thing. Those are being sold in Australia converted to US dollars at about a 125 to 130 US dollar price. So cheaper than if you want one right now. So this is what I see happening. I see box prices continue to climb over the next 3 to 4 months. Will it get to 200 US dollars a box? Quite possibly. Then this restock or reprint, again, I'm not in the know-how. I'm not the Pokemon Company International. This is just estimation or speculation based off of, you know, the resupply that a lot of big retailers are saying is coming in March 2025 down here in Australia. So I see it climbing up, and then I see it just making a very, very small dent. Like if this comes in March 2025, yes, prices might drop a tiny bit because, you know what, the community's sentiment is probably going to move towards prismatic evolutions, and that's where the hype and chase will be. So maybe it'll lull, or the demand will be a bit lower because there's so many booster boxes of Surging Sparks being sold at the moment daily, like in the hundreds. So maybe that'll lull a little bit. You know, prices will probably pull back a little bit, but I reckon it'll rebound incredibly, incredibly quickly. And from there, I think sky's the limit, particularly if it doesn't get another reprint after that. And probably the best example of that is Lost Origin, okay? Recently, Lost Origin, well, about a year ago, Lost Origin got a reprint, and we saw prices come back down to earth pretty quickly, but then rebound back up. And that's exactly what Lost Origin did. You know, it come out of the gates pretty hot because it's got some really good chase cards, and I want to make some comparisons to that in a second. You know, it shot up to like $200 a box. Reprint a year ago, dropped it back down close to, you know, MSRP. Then it shot way back up to 220. There was a very, very small reprint recently, which just put a small dent in it back to like 180, 190. And all of a sudden we're back up to 220. So, you know, Lost Origin has shown that it'll rebound really quickly. And if it doesn't cop another reprint, which is so unlikely, you know, the printers are going to be on full steam for Surging Sparks, Prismatic Evolutions, you know, the rocket set that's on its way. I highly, highly doubt Lost Origin will ever see another reprint. So, you know, sky's the limit now for that booster box. And I wanted to make some comparisons between Lost Origin and Surging Sparks. So if we look at the top hit, right, we've got two absolute bangers. We've got Giratina versus Pikachu EX. And I don't think Pikachu EX will hold on to be as strong a chase card, like raw price and PSA 10 price, as Giratina. I could be wrong, because currently they're sitting at a very, very similar price, both in raw and PSA 10. But the general rule of thumb is when a set comes out and more supply hits the market, prices will drop. Now, that's not always the case. Some cards will buck the trend, like Greninja, because you get this community sentiment towards it where it just shoots it the other way, up in price rather than down in price. But general rule of thumb is they'll come down. So we got those two cards, two really, really big chase cards. Arguably, I think the Giratina is a better looking chase card than the Pikachu. Some people might agree or disagree. The second big chase card, Latias versus Aerodactyl. Again, it's almost splitting hairs. Latias holds a stronger price at the moment, but they're both really, really nice looking Pokemon cards, aren't they? And then, you know, your third place, I think, you know, when you're looking at Lost Origin, this is probably where it comes into play. The depth of Lost Origin versus the depth that Surging Sparks is perhaps showing at the moment. Cards like Hydreigon, Lycia's Appeal, the Exeggutor in there. And then, you know, compare that to Lost Origin, and really your third main chase card is just, what are we down to now? The Pikachu VMAX, isn't it? From the Trainer Gallery, which is like a $30 card. And then, you know, where's the waifu cards? There's also Jasmine's Gaze inside Surging Sparks. I think the only waifu in Lost Origin is Nessa, and it's like a $5 or $6 card. So, you know, I'm not saying, maybe I am. Maybe I've come to the conclusion myself during this video that Surging Sparks is a better set than Lost Origin. We know it's not as good as Evolving Skies. Like that's got to be a fact. But maybe it's better than Lost Origin. So I guess if I'm talking through my predictions on it, it's going to come out the gate stronger than Lost Origin, I think. And I think it's going to rebound quicker than Lost Origin after a reprint. And as a result, in 3 years' time, it's probably going to be a 250 or 300 US dollar box. So that's my thoughts on Surging Sparks. I'm Michael. This is PokeOz. Catch everyone next time.